If there is life in the universe, surely they are wondering like us. Is there anyone else out there? The sky is full of silence, but maybe behind that endless darkness hide neighbors that we have never met. In this movie, let's enter the journey to explore whether the vast universe contains any other life. At the Monty Space Museum, Elio's aunt Olga struggled to comfort the little grandson hiding under the table. Perhaps Elio's parents encountered a terrible event, so much so that since that day he almost did not open his mouth to talk to anyone. Yet just hearing about the astronaut program, his eyes suddenly brightened, as if he found a rare ray of hope in the dark. Because she has to take care of her nephew, Olga also temporarily put aside her passion. Turning around, she found Elio had left the dining room. Exploring the Universe exhibit, he accidentally triggered a spatial program that has been forgotten for a long time. It talked about the vastness of the universe and posed a question: is there any other life in the galaxy? The Voyager program is an effort to find that out. Exploration ships carry a noble mission. It is a travel to a place no person has come before, approaching the remote areas of the universe and beyond. But this ship will also go back and go quietly into space. One day, those distant worlds will receive signals that it sent. And then the ship will also complete its mission, proving the universe holds not only us. This really impressed Elio. Since that day, Elio has always imagined that one day he was flying into space, so he always sought to send messages to aliens from all locations. Even though everyone looked at him with eyes that said, "This guy is crazy," perhaps this was the only source of inspiration that Elio has never grown bored of. He could spend all day researching the universe, spending a month on crazy plans, with the sole purpose of meeting aliens. In addition, he also sought to build a specific broadcast in order to send information out into space, but for an 11-year-old kid it was very difficult. Day after day, Elio still did not give up his impossible mission to be captured by aliens. Then one day he fell asleep on the beach, looking at a light, and thought that aliens were carrying him away. But it turned out that it was a friend who came because of Elio's leaflets about the amateur radio club. The boy introduced himself. His name was Bryce. And what he brought was a broken cassette player of his father's, broadcasting to Ohio, telling Elio his thing was not bad. After that, Bryce also introduced another friend who wanted to join the club. It was Caleb, but Elio made an excuse about infectious diseases to chase them away. At this moment, the radio emitted a very different sound. Elio tried to contact, but was immediately interrupted by Caleb. After the confrontation, the communication device was also thrown out and broken. Elio was so angry that she flew into a fight with the young man, resulting in an invitation to the station to resolve things. After the incident was settled, Elio was required to declare what he had been hiding for so long. But he spoke a language that no one understood, so Olga had to shake her head. It was just then that a group of soldiers passed by to invite Miss Olga to the astronauts, but she refused because she was busy working first. After that, Olga asked Elio to sit still in the office for 10 minutes because she was having an emergency meeting. At this time, a man named Mel Mark revealed that he had heard a signal sent by aliens. Of course, Elio could not ignore such precious information. He immediately sneaked into the meeting room to eavesdrop. Mel Mark said that this signal was collected by a program that NASA launched in 1977. It is called a gold record, a type of message in a bottle. According to the conjecture, someone outside the universe has really received this message and they responded to us. Mel Mark said that they could not ignore it and had to respond immediately, so he set up the system to be ready for the conversation. But Olga turned a deaf ear because she thought Mel Mark was paranoid. Then she reminded her colleagues to focus on their key work. These are spatial pieces, not aliens. From inside the trash, Elio witnessed everything, and he could not ignore such a rare opportunity. He then immediately greeted the aliens and asked them to pick him up at any time. After the CV had been completed, just send it. The consequence of this is that the whole system was triggered and the power source turned off. Elio hurried back home and started packing, but his aunt said that no aliens would come here. Not to mention, the incident made everything a lie and almost made her lose her job. So Olga decided to send Elio to a camp for 2 weeks for him to make new friends. But Elio refused because he just wanted to see the aliens. After a fierce argument, Olga also had to leave because it was too helpless. And Elio was lying dazed and heard his aunt decided to send him to the summer camp. Elio couldn't help but feel desperate and climbed onto the balcony to look at the sky, hoping there was some spacecraft appearing to help him escape this situation. The next day, Olga took his nephew to the summer camp, and Elio was sad because he was about to do things he didn't like at all. But even more unlucky, he even ran into Caleb here, whom he punched in the nose last time. When night falls, it is also the time. When it rains, Elio still tries to find ways to contact aliens. Meanwhile, Bryce and his friends are discussing the plan to scare Elio for retaliation. They wore alien masks and began to close in on his tent. But before they could enter, Elio ran away into the forest. At the same time at the headquarters, Olga is still worried about the situation of his nephew, when suddenly a warning about a satellite going in their direction. The next second, the whole system collapsed for a reason that no one can explain. After that, the computers also continuously blinked and showed very confusing characters. The alien sends a message, "Take your leader here." But not only the computer system, even Olga's phone has been controlled. At the same time, Elio was still panicked and fled from the pursuit of the other students. He then realized that his phone had a strange message sent. The next second, Elio was discovered by the other students. Elio tried to warn them about a light spot approaching, but his actions were misunderstood as a challenge. As soon as the boss was about to get in Elio's face, a light beam promptly rushed in, making everything stop moving. Only Elio is still able to move. When looking out to observe more carefully, he discovers a strange object that is glowing, shaped like a pen. After that, it also used anti-gravity technology to bring Elio into a space tunnel. He was taken to a pink room. A strange object shaped like a jellyfish scanned Elio's body. When this process was completed, he also understood what the alien object said. It turned out to be a supercomputer in the shape of a heart. After that, the gravity of the room was suddenly changed, and Elio was invited into a glass of space. Welcome. Gifts from the Galactic Union. This is an intergalactic organization of the radical species in the universe. The great minds of the universe will come here to share knowledge and initiatives. Reaching the universe is real. Later, Elio was welcomed by 3 aliens. They took turns introducing themselves. Questa came from Gatu, Helix from Fawn, and Tagismund came from Teg. Elio also introduced himself from Earth. They then entered the hall to congratulate the new member of the Union. Helix said they went around galaxies to find new species with the same direction, and they think Elio is a new prime candidate to join. They have passed the opinions of the majority to make this decision. Elio will be like them when wearing a prestigious badge. Then they took Elio to meet famous beings. The person who invented a Sirius controlled disk force, temperature, and all languages. Next is the owner of the instruction book that contains all the secrets of the universe, and a creature with nanotechnology that can create everything at will. Elio was later taken to a place with beautiful scenery, which turned out to be merely a toilet for aliens. Elio confessed he had been waiting for this day for a long time, just like this place was born for you. Helix said he had found Elio through the spacecraft he sent, which turned out to be NASA's Voyager. Also because they were impressed with this technology, they sent an invocation, and Elio is the one who answered them. But it turned out that this was a misunderstanding, because they mistakenly thought Elio was the leader of Earth. At this moment, the supercomputer announced that there was an emergency situation that the Union needs to handle, related to another candidate. Elio, when he grasped the situation, could not help but be worried because he did not know how he would be handled by aliens when they knew the truth. Then they arrived at the hall. Griggon is earnestly wanting to enter the Union. He is the king of Hillust, a cruel and aggressive celebrity, but the council has rejected him, for the reason they only accept peaceful people with an open mind. The name, Griggon, when he was rejected, was not committed and vowed to use force to capture the Union. Then he flew away, extremely decisively. After listening, the council immediately announced that they would put aside Elio as a new member and appointment for a few thousand years, or someone can negotiate with Griggon. But most of them seek to escape responsibility, and Elio is very likely to be sent back to Earth and continue the lonely life as before. Elio did not accept to be kicked out like this, so he loudly proclaimed that he would be the one who negotiated. After listening, the council immediately opened the door to approve. If Elio really convinced Griggon, they would admit him as a new member, forever. The supercomputer then explained that for Elio to negotiate with the tyrant, he needs a temporary replacement, and so it needs Elio's DNA to replicate him. The purpose of this is to maintain Elio's life on Earth to avoid suspicion. The copy was approved by Elio, and can choose the personality that he likes. For him, he needs to equip some more knowledge to meet the tyrant. In the worst case, Elio could die, so the supercomputer also asked if he wanted to report to his relatives on Earth, and the answer is no. At the same time, after a battle, Elio's copy was also brought straight home by his aunt. To facilitate integration, it also chose to be gentle and talk easy. Olga proved extremely puzzled because the grandchild didn't even care about aliens anymore. Out in the universe, the name Griggon has begun to bring troops to make a conversation with the Union. Elio comforted himself to be confident and behave as a powerful person. After that, he was also carefully prepped to reach the speed of Griggon. To reduce the stress, Elio also took advantage of the outfit to switch to an extremely smooth state. After that, he was also led to the commander's room to talk to Griggon, who was disdainful because of what fake Earth looked like this. After that, the Hylist clan never negotiated without fighting, considering a shooting contest would be better. Elio excitedly had to forget the gun at home, but Griggon immediately gave him a basket to choose from. With one hand, no one expected the bullet to turn on and then hit the target, making Griggon could not help but exclaim. His attitude was also more elegant. But he was still bitter because the Union considered him a monster. Elio wondered why Griggon did not try to find another place to accept him. But Griggon thinks that the Galaxy Union is a place worthy for the great leaders to gather. And Elio expressed his persistent viewpoint. To pursue something that had been given up, to do anything for it, takes time. At this moment, Hylist's prince caused a problem. Griggin proved extremely miserable. After that, both of them discussed parenting methods. Elio just misspoke, which made Griggin angry. As a result, he immediately ordered the juniors to detain Elio and declared from the cell he would witness the way he destroyed the Union. Meanwhile, Olga is still stretching her eyes because of the incredible change of Elio. And they thought it was due to the summer trip, even though it took less than a day. And the real Elio was thrown into the cell with a dry skeleton. At this moment, he discovered an ideal hole to dig a tunnel. After that, he activated the gravity field to fly up. The next plan is to continue negotiating with Griggin. Unfortunately, Elio fell down into a hole where he had to face a giant monster and was wrapped in silk by it. Fortunately, Elio brings translation technology. When understanding the language of the worm, it feels extremely cute. The worm introduces itself. "My name is Glorbon." After that, it also dropped Elio to the ground to introduce the superior armor the Hylist ethnic group has made. Elio realized that when Hylist removed the armor, they would look like Glorbon. But they will never do that because it would be an unforgivable humiliation. Glorbon was very excited to wear the armor because it would look very cool, and it also served as an alarm. Glorbon immediately thought that Elio was the one who escaped and persuaded him to say his secret. Elio was pushed into a corner, so he revealed that he was just a child and also lying to the Union about being the Earth leader. After listening, Glorbon thought Elio was so cool because he dared to be so brave. Elio explained the situation he was entangled in. In the middle of his story, when trying to continue negotiating with Griggin, Glorbon revealed that he was his son. Elio immediately took this opportunity, thanks to Glorbon, to become a negotiating hostage, and he agreed because this would be an opportunity to make his father pay attention. After that, the two went through the tunnel to reach Elio's ship. At the same time, Hylist's battleship aimed its cannon at the Union. Elio tricked them that this was just a normal exercise and quickly moved to the spacecraft. Unfortunately, this is the lava tunnel used to provide the great cannon. Fortunately, Glorbon quickly asked Elio to crawl into his net, so much that they quickly reached the spacecraft. After that, both of them shook hands on the cooperation and quickly returned to the Union's headquarters. Elio, when he was sure, confidently called Griggin to continue negotiating, and threatened that if he did not call off the troops, Glorbon would soon become gloopy. Glorbon also knew the cooperation and said he was defeated and begged his father to save him. Griggin proved stubborn, but was immediately weakened by his son's plight. Finally, he agreed to negotiate and voluntarily surrender. Then he said he would personally pick up his son. But if just one of Glorbon's hairs is lost, he would make them pay. The Union was happy when Elio solved their problems. They promised to admit him and give him the most special badge. Meanwhile, Glorbon is still looking far away towards the mothership. Elio immediately ran to him. It turned out that the young person had never been outside, so they are feeling very cold. Elio immediately adjusted the temperature. His body heard a sizzle like a barbecue. At the same time, Griggin decided to go right away, because he needs a set of armor for his son to make a maturity ceremony for him right at the Galaxy Union. At the same time, Elio and Glorbon are still chatting and experiencing the pleasures on the roof of the Union. In addition, the two also learn to celebrate in their own ways that Elio always wished to try once with someone. The two have become close over time. Elio also confessed his parents died not long ago, and Glorbon felt lost because his mother kept going to fight and was indifferent like he didn't exist. Elio also blamed himself for not being loved and blamed the Earth. But now it is extremely different. Glorbon said that Elio was great, and he felt very happy when the two became friends. At this moment, the Hylist spacecraft landed, and Griggin appeared with his son's armor. But Glorbon confessed that he had never liked it before. He was just pretending to please his father. After wearing the armor, their activity will also be greatly limited. Glorbon did not want to state his point because everyone's Hylist all did that, and that was their tradition. If they were to leave it, he would be hated. After listening, Elio decided to find a way to help Glorbon. After that, Elio took Glorbon to the cloning room with the purpose of wanting to clone a copy to Father Griggin's wishes. But he was worried that his father was very intelligent and could not be fooled. To strengthen the spirit for Glorbon, Elio also showed him how well he was doing. And indeed, it is better than he thinks. This really makes Elio ponder. Later, they immediately create a copy for Glorbon and follow the planned plan. At the same time, the copy of Elio is still doing well what it is programmed to do, but Olga doubted and decided to check his nephew's DNA. All of the copy's activities are carefully recorded by his aunt. Then everything was revealed, and the copy was forced to declare the truth. At the same time, Elio took the copy of Glorbon to hand over to Griggin. He was also ready to turn his son into a war machine. Looking at the internal structure, the user will definitely have to go through extreme pain. At the end of the ceremony, it is also the time when the armor is closed and the Glorbon copy is still good until the present. Because the Union has kept the promise, Grigon also immediately called off the army, and Elio officially became a member of the Union. But when Glorbon's copy stated his purpose, Grigon was suspicious. As soon as Elio was given the prestigious badge, it was the time when the copy of Glorbon was overturned. Elio wondered how he knew. The answer was that a father always recognized his son. After that, it was time to waste time. Grigon also asked Questa to read Elio's mind. As soon as he found his son's position, the spacecraft was accidentally flown by Glorbon, flying straight to Earth. And Elio's fate is deportation, because Questa has known the truth that he is not the leader of the Earth, but merely a child. Elio tried to explain and pray for him to stay, when Grigon suddenly returned to question his son. He was angry because he was deceived. He immediately ordered the army to invade the entire Union. Elio was saved, luckily, by Questa, who promptly returned him to Earth. After that, he also wished to look at the world in the hope that the gate could once again open. Elio hugged her face sobbing and discovered her copy, and Olga was going to the beach to see the stars. When the copy left, Elio was also mistaken for him. He accidentally stopped the battery, so Olga did not doubt. Turns out, when she learned the whole truth, she decided to find a way to contact the Galaxy Union. Elio, when he learned this, could not help but be extremely moved. When the lights were on, Olga quickly realized her nephew had returned. Elio could not imagine that he was so important to her. At this moment, a helicopter appeared. It seems that Olga's headquarters have found them. When they arrived, the spacecraft of Elio was being carried by the army. Elio tried to explain that his friend was trapped in it and asked Olga to rescue him. While Elio's copy is also used as a bait for the guards to help Olga's grandchild easily break into the isolation area. And Elio took advantage of thanking the copy for helping them. After that, Olga quickly disguised herself to help his nephew break into the spacecraft, where he discovered that Glorbon was dying because his device was broken. The situation was extremely tight. They were discovered and a battle ensued. Olga immediately used the Elio language to signal the nephew to throw the hat towards them. At the same time, she quickly closed the door, and Elio immediately activated the ship to escape from the isolation area. But the situation of Glorbon is becoming increasingly critical, so they need to accelerate faster to bring him home. But the spacecraft seemed to be faulty and could not boot superspeed. Olga remained calm because she seemed to have realized something. It turned out that they were moving directly into a very dangerous space stone area. Can't just close your eyes. Olga needs someone on the ground to analyze their parameters. Elio immediately contacted Bryce to ask him to help overcome this case. Fortunately, in his radio group, there was a very knowledgeable person about the universe, none other than Uncle Melmark. Later, under his help, the two grandchildren Olga easily overcame the fear. But when the spacecraft goes too far, it is also time to lose contact completely, forcing them to be self-reliant. Immediately, a collision happened, creating a big hole. Glorbon used his remaining strength to release Silk and patch the hole. After that, the spacecraft's armor was reduced over time, and Olga only knows how to help someone in vain. Fortunately, in the 90th minute, someone listened to them. Not only that, they also received a lot of support from many different amateur stations. Among them is Mr. Huang from Vietnam. After overcoming the final obstacle, Elio quickly made a super speed jump that took them flying straight to the headquarters of the Galaxy Union. The scene is extremely devastated at this time, fire and smoke covered everywhere. Elio tried to take Glorbon out to ask for help, while Grigon only knew how to stand by because he thought he was a little boy. Elio tried to wake up Glorbon in vain, and Grigon's gaze is extremely indignant, thinking that he would see Elio down the Golden Stream, who expected Grigon to make an extremely unexpected decision, removing the armor from his body. After that, he quickly created a cocoon to fix his son. Glorbon was cherished by the father's warmth, so he quickly wake up soon after. Grigon immediately ordered the supercomputer to provide a translation for the two grandchildren Olga, so they could listen to what Glorbon said. Elio could feel that Grigon loved his son so much and was convinced. Glorbon said what he thought. After that, Glorbon also confessed that he did not want to weapon. Grigon just sighed and admitted that sometimes he could not understand his son, but still loved him so much. At the same time, Grigon also apologized to all for what he had done in the past and asked the soldiers to release the entire Union. Despite knowing the truth, when returning, Questa still decided to give the badge and make Elio a new ambassador. Because he sacrificed himself to protect others, this was considered not inferior to any real planet leader. Elio is also invited to stay here to settle down. It made him so happy it was unbelievable. But when the gate to the Earth was opened, Elio realized that he could not leave his beloved person. So he decided to return the badge. Because while this place is so good, Earth is always his only home, and he wants to live the life he has now. At the end of the film, Elio said goodbye to the Union to return to Olga, and promised to come here in the near future. Questa affirmed that Elio was unique from Earth, and the only one who can make him feel is not alone. But the truth is that he is not alone. Hearing this, she faked a pain in her head. Elio then gave Glorban a tight, gentle hug after what they had experienced together. When the sunrise appears, it is also the time when the Union spacecraft lands on Earth. It shows the fact that life outside the universe still exists. It's just that not everyone knows it. Please send the message, because maybe someday you will be answered. Despite returning to Earth, Elio still contacted Glorban through the device he created. If you are watching, then the movie Elio has come to an end. This movie is a decent cartoons, alongside with other Pixar movies like Inside Out 2, that is currently bringing a new way of create cartoons. What about you? What do you think about this movie? Comment below so that everyone could know. Now, goodbye, and see you again in the next videos.